Welcome to UK Highland Photography here on YouTube, a channel dedicated to helping you to become a better photographer. Today we're going to be having a look at what is exposure in photography. So let's start by asking the question, what is exposure? Exposure is the amount of light that we as photographers allow to hit our camera sensor. There's three different kinds of exposure. There's 1, underexposure, 2, overexposure, and 3, technically perfect exposure. So let's look at the differences of these exposures in more detail. Let's begin with underexposure. We experience underexposure when we're not allowing enough light to hit our camera sensor. This results with us having dark looking images. If you have a look at the screen behind me, then you will see that I've made some examples of what underexposure does look like in photography. Now let's move on to overexposure. We experience overexposure in photography when we allow too much light to enter our camera sensor. This results with us ending up with very bright looking images. If you have a look at the screen here, then you will see for yourself what overexposure does look like in photography. Now let's move on to the final exposure. This is, of course, the technically perfect exposure. The technically perfect exposure is the industry standard of what a photograph's exposure should be. Technically perfect exposures are achieved by most photographers via work materials such as light meters. Don't worry if you don't know much about light meters, because we will at some point be making a tutorial on light meters on this channel. All you have to know for now is that most modern day cameras do have their own light meters built into them, which is why anybody can take a technically perfect exposure simply by using automatic mode on a digital camera. So as you can see in the photograph behind me, then the technically perfect exposure is neither underexposed nor is it overexposed. Instead, it's just halfway in between, making it what we call a technically perfect exposure. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that underexposure and overexposure is a bad thing. As a matter of fact, underexposure and overexposure can be very creative tools for us photographers. For example, underexposure can help add a sense of spookiness to our photographs, whereas overexposure can help us add a sense of cleanliness / freshness to our images. So there you have it, a very basic introduction to what exposure is in photography. Remember to subscribe to our channel, and also please remember to check out our shop over at www.ukhighland.com.